What up, Bulls Nation? We've got a live CHGO Bulls coming up for y'all right around the corner, breaking down the Bulls' final Summer League game of 2025. They get the win over the Jazz, 105-92. No Noa Essengue, obviously no Modest, but Yuki Kawamura put on another show, his second double-double of Summer League. We're going to break it down next. What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome into the CHGO Bulls Podcast, coming to you live remotely from our various abodes late on Friday night. I feel like it's the regular season, a 9:15 post-game start time, gentlemen. How about that? I'm Peck, Bulls _ Peck. That is Big Dave. Bow. BNWL Sports. Will the Go Gottlieb. Perfectly coiffed as always. Will _ Gottlieb. And behind the scenes, working them controls, the queen of them, the one and only Katie Duffy. Hit that like if you're hanging out in the chat on YouTube with us. Appreciate you being here, Bulls Nation. Throw us a super chat if you're feeling generous this Friday evening. Bulls get their win in their Summer League consolation bracket finale over the Utah Jazz, 105-92. No Modest, no Noa Essengue, who gets sat again with the quad contusion he suffered in Game 2 of these Summer League games. We'll break down what we saw from him later on in tonight's show. Also, Jameer Young, who led the Bulls to their win on Wednesday night with 37 points, was active today, but a quick exit and did not return with an injury of his own. The names keep dropping, so who steps up? And much like we have seen before, it was Yuki Kawamura leading the charge, leading various fast breaks, the dazzling dimes, the lobs, the behind the backs. Shout out to Jamon Freeman Liberty doing his thing as always. He was flirting with a triple-double tonight. But, I mean, Big Dave, everybody on Bulls Twitter who is sick enough to be tuning in to a Summer League consolation bracket game, everybody was saying, Bulls, don't mess this up. Sign Yuki. Find a way to keep Yuki. I saw your tweet, and it was just like, yo, hey, Yuki, man, what are you feeling right now, man?
I'm feeling a few things. First of all, Summer League's over, so I'm feeling good about that. For the Bulls, I should say. It's done, so that's awesome. Number two, this does not feel like a regular season game, Matt. This feels like summertime, and I'm doing the show at 9 p.m. That's how it feels right now for me. But I'm happy to be. I'm always happy to do it because, as you mentioned, Matt, I'm a sicko. We are all sickos, so I have no problem doing this show at all and sitting and watching a Summer League game for the Chicago Bulls. And to my great surprise, I fell in love tonight, and his name is Yuki. And y'all know, like, it's my favorite position, and watching somebody play my favorite position in the way that you're supposed to play that position just makes my heart sing. I'm like, I don't know what else he has to do, to be honest with you. I don't know what else that has to happen for him to be signed, or at the very least, get time in the preseason for the Chicago Bulls. At the very least, he gets that. But I mean, he did every single thing right. And the fact he's doing this coming off the bench just makes it all the more impressive to me. I mean, putting up a double-double with a few steals, I mean, with rebounds as well. The dude had like 5 rebounds at 5'8", getting offensive rebounds, battling for those kind of things, and then leading the break, making the right pass. He would have had more assists if the Bulls had more talent on the floor that could, make layups and make dunks. He would have had more assists if that was the case.
20 tonight.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, he would have set probably some Summer League records, you know what I'm saying, out there tonight. So he was really, truly impressive. I think he was a plus 16 tonight, but he plays the position the right way. And when you have that kind of guy who has that level of playmaking ability it elevates everybody on the floor. It really does. It makes everybody, it raises their game. And as soon as he gets the ball, or as soon as somebody gets a rebound, they're looking for Yuki. They're like, here, take the ball, because they know if he gets the ball, he's going to find you. And no matter where you are. And that makes the game much more fun. And the Bulls were out there dominating against this Utah Jazz team. He was the best player on the floor. I know Cody Williams was out there doing his thing, but the best player on the floor was Yuki. He was the best player out there. And that is wild to say, but it is the truth. This isn't hyperbole out here spitting. It was the actual truth. He was the best player on the floor. He's the attraction for the Chicago Bulls. I don't see how you don't put somebody like that on your team. For a team that is devoid of certain talents, you need stuff like this on your team and on your roster, man. Like, I don't need to see anymore. He was that good tonight.
Yeah, so obviously, like, the Jazz were without Ace Bailey, Filipowski, Walter Clayton, Isaiah Collier. The Bulls were without Modest, Essengue, Lachlan Ulbrich, who had played in the previous 4 Summer League games on a 2-way contract, and Emmanuel Miller, the other Bulls 2-way player, were all out. So this was like the dregs of a game, like just not a lot of like real NBA talent out there. Although Cody Williams did play, and obviously Javon Freeman-Liberty has had moments in the NBA as well. So there was some real competition out there, but I just think like when you dominate a game like that, that's in an NBA setting, like you just, that counts for something. I don't really care who the competition is. Like that, to me, that does count for something. And he really did dominate it. I'm glad you brought up the rebounds, Dave, because it wasn't just like, getting some cheap assists here and there. Like he was getting the rebound, pushing the ball up the court, whether it was like himself getting across the timeline quickly and like getting the Bulls into their offense, or advanced passing and just like getting the ball up ahead. And that's how the Bulls want to play. They want to play fast. They want to get the ball up ahead of the play and try to beat the other team down court. And Yuki like really executed that to a T. On top of it, the flashy passes. You mentioned that like he could have had more assists. There were like 2 or 3 different players that missed alley-oops, just like missed layups, where it's just like, man, I mean, this guy could have had 15, a 20-15 and 5 game, and that would not have surprised me at all. So I just, it's really impressive to see him dominate. This is not like the role that he would have at the NBA level, and I think that's probably the one thing that would deter you is like, I mean, he had the ball every single time down the court, and like, unless Josh Giddey and Ayo and Kobe are all out and you just like need a point guard to do everything, then like it's unlikely that he handles that kind of responsibility. And if he's not in that role, is his height so much of a deterrent in terms of his defense and his off-ball ability that he's not really going to be effective? I think that's probably the primary question that if you're a front office, whether it's the Bulls or any other team, you have to be asking yourself. But certainly with the ball in his hands throughout the process of this entire summer league, we talked about like the highs of the 37-point game from Jameer Young. It's like he's consistently done this every single game off the bench, coming in, contributing, leading the charge, racking up assists, generating good offense, and being really scrappy defensively. He's been really, really fun to watch.
The talent is making Bulls fans fall in love. Dysfunctional in the chat. Yes, talent just smacked AK in the face. Sign this man. Jason Nito. That boy Yuki. Rob, they got to give Magic Yuki a roster spot somehow. Michael White. Modest said Yuki works harder than anybody he's been around. That says a lot. Dysfunctional. Where can I buy the jersey now? I'm all in. That old school Magic. Sign this
Think
man
about how many jerseys they would
immediately,
sell.
AK. Brazil popular. I've seen enough. Oh my goodness. Yeah, the chat is loving Yuki tonight, and I don't blame them. Bulls fans are starved for something fun and interesting and good. And honestly, with the lack of hope and faith in the Bulls quote unquote farm system, if you want to use the baseball term, and we'll talk about that at the back end of the show. When you see somebody play like that, and as you said, go dominate like that on a floor, even if it's a summer league NBA floor, Bulls fans are taking notice, because Bulls fans, we wanted to hopefully see a couple of dominant games from Modest. We saw some of that. We wanted to see what Noa Essengue looked like. We saw some of that. But especially down the stretch of these back-end summer league games, the true sickos, like, what are we looking for? Who's making plays? And Yuki was making plays. Dave, you mentioned the rebounding. Obviously, the passing and playmaking is elite. Oh, by the way, he went 6 of 9 from behind the arc tonight.
Right.
6 of 9! Like, there were a couple of possessions early third quarter after some bungled what should have been assists on gorgeous dimes from Yuki. A couple of times down the floor. I think the first one, he got a kick out pass, just rise and fire, knock down three. Next time down the floor, Yuki at the point on the left side of the top of the key, just like picked up his dribble, stared his man down for a second, and just like rise and fire, knock down a three. Like back we go the other way. There's no lacking of confidence. He can shoot. Obviously, at the NBA level, those closeouts are going to be tighter. The contests of those guys are going to be longer. But even still, on top of everything you see from him as an undersized guard making plays, he knocked down 6 threes.
6 threes, bro. 6. Hold on, Will. Like 6 threes, dog. Like, I was reluctant to come on here and talk like this because I didn't want you to be caught up and swept up in a moment of, oh man, this guy is just a cool story. This is nice. This is fun. Hey, everybody have some fun with it. No, dude, like it's basketball we talking about when I saw him out there. That was ball. Did you see him off those pick and rolls? Did you see the passes he was making with his left hand? The bounce passes he was making with his left hand? The passes across court he was making with his left hand to guys in the corner? Like that stuff is hard. That stuff is very difficult to do. And he was making it very, very easy and setting guys up and putting it to where all they had to do was lay it in or take the shot. He's removing that thinking for him, and it looked fun out there when somebody's IQ is that high. I'm watching him pointing out stuff on the offensive possession when the ball is being inbounded of guys they need to pick up and where guys need to be on the floor. I'm watching him do that stuff. Like I'm watching him pick up his teammates when he's on the floor, clapping them up, slapping them on the ass, telling them everything is okay. Yo, keep going, keep moving and stuff like that. Like all these leadership qualities I like in my point guard, he possesses. And people will talk about, his height and all that. I've always felt like if you can play, you can play, bro. I don't care how tall you are. Can you hoop? Can you hoop? That's all I care about. We'll figure it out once you get in the game. Because I know, like I said, I know a bunch of tall people who are trash that are in the NBA, who are just pure trash, and they're in the NBA, all right? This dude shouldn't be put into that category just because he is 5'7" or 5'8" or whatever. He doesn't play like it. He's crossing dudes up and hitting step backs. He's getting to the bucket and getting layups. He knows how to use his size to make it look like he got fouled. I'm just watching a dude use his brain out there to help the team win, and he's elevating and raising their floor out there, man. So, and again, when you're playing with guys out there on the floor and everybody is not on your level talent-wise and you're elevating them, I look at stuff like that. Again, I think of my man Jason Kidd when he's got Kerry Kittles, Keith Van Horn, and Todd McCullough out there, and he's taking them to the finals. And I'm thinking about Rajon Rondo out here when he was with this Bulls team here with this young squad and how he had them looking in the playoffs, man. Like that's just stuff that really, good point guards do. No, I'm not saying he's on that level. I'm just using it as an example of, raising the floor and raising everybody's skill set out there. So just to end it, like I really enjoy his game. I think he deserves a shot. I hope he gets one with the Bulls. And even appealing to the money side of it, he comes with his own fan base. All right. And he comes with his own fan base. And I got a tweet from a guy who said, man, if he goes to the Windy City G League, I'm going to every game. And I've never been to a Windy City G League game. Man, he will put cheeks in the seats and feet in the suites. That's what Yuki will do.
I was telling some friends of mine who were hanging out watching the game with me at my place tonight. I was like, tell them about Yuki. I was like, guys, this guy got more noise and more crowd and more love than Cooper freaking Flag out in Vegas for the last 6 days. Like, no joke, no lie. The world loves Yuki. If the Dorfs are concerned about keeping those seats filled with butts, sign Yuki to a two-way and play him as many games as you can, and you will have a full United Center. All right, we got to knock out our first couple of ads right there. We'll come back on the other side, talk a little bit more about some decisions that AK might have to make about his two ways, and then we'll dive into, despite not seeing him on the floor tonight, the Summer League debut of the Rook, Noa Essengue, and more. Let us know what you're thinking about in the chat. Hit that like button for Katie so she doesn't come after you, and listen to some ads. Tonight's CHGO Bulls brought to you by Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. It's your one-stop shop for all of your cannabis needs, with an expertly curated menu featuring over 100 different strains to choose from. That's right, I said 100! Plus, they offer easy online ordering and in-store pickup. Locations in Chicago, Wrigleyville, and River North, plus throughout the suburbs, even down in Champaign, up in South Beloit. They've got you covered wherever you are in Illinois. Check out their Wellness Advisor Staff Picks collection. Even those connoisseurs out there, they probably have something you haven't tried yet. Visit Sunnyside.shop for Bright Buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Just use promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, Bright Buys every day, only for 21 and older and Illinois Med card holders. And for you existing customers, don't worry. They got something for you too. Use promo code CHGO50, CHGO50 to get 50% off one Cresco Labs brand item.
There are certain rules in life, ladies and gentlemen. One of those rules is hit the like button or Katie will come after you. Another rule is sign Yuki so everybody can enjoy this full season even more. Of course, the rule, don't touch the quaff or, you might lose a finger or thumb or a hand. Who knows? But here's a bigger rule. Don't get biffed. All right? Don't get biffed. Do not go to the big box store, ladies and gentlemen. Stay at home and get that shop at home convenience that you will only get from Empire Today, because Empire Today has flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals whose focus is on flooring every single day of the week. With Empire Today, you will get clear, upfront, and all-inclusive pricing. Plus, you can schedule installation as soon as the next day. That is mañana in Spanish. Shout out to myself for knowing Spanish. Schedule a free in-home today, because some things are just better at home. CHGO listeners can receive a $350 discount when you use that promo code CHGO. You heard me right. $350 discount, promo code CHGO. Restrictions apply. Visit empiretoday.com/CHGO for full details. 580-2300. Peck!
Empire
Today.
Boom! Rolling along, CHGO Bulls Friday night post-game edition. Summer League is in the books. Peck, Big Dave, Goat, Katie rocking the controls behind the scenes. Thanks for joining us, Bulls Nation. Hit the like button if you haven't done it yet. Make sure you're subscribed to that CHGO Sports YouTube channel. Okay, so, gentlemen, I know we talked about this a little bit also on Wednesday's show after their Wednesday victory, in which Yuki also looked great with some dazzling highlight reel dimes. I was refreshing Bulls Twitter tonight. The true sickos who were on Bulls Twitter tonight watching that game. The consensus aggressively, and I see it in the chat here as well tonight. What are the Bulls doing if they don't at least keep Yuki around on a two-way? Because of your two-way spots, obviously one of them right now is occupied by Lachlan, who you mentioned also sat tonight. Their second-round pick, 55th overall, who I thought, showed some things, but nothing that really dazzled me in his summer league minutes. And then a couple of guys who have been around for a while who are reaching that, not like Yuki is 18 or 19. Yuki also has some years on him, NBA prospect wise. But guys like Jameer Young, who left tonight's game with an injury, did put up 37 on Wednesday. Emmanuel Miller, some of these other names, like, why not let him run with the Windy City Bulls and see what's there, because it's something different. I think that's kind of how most Bulls fans feel and why they're excited about Yuki, because it's something different that looks like a good basketball player, size problems aside.
I mean, I think we talked about this a little bit on the last show, but I think it's a point that I wanted to bring up again, just because I saw a comment about, like, he's so small, you can shoot right over him. He's not an NBA player. And I think, like, realistically, it's going to be hard for him to be a successful player in the NBA. Like, that's just the reality of the situation for everybody in the world and most guys who are fighting to compete for NBA jobs and a lot of guys who are already in the NBA. It's hard to be successful in that. And so I think, like, if you're the Bulls, or really any team that's trying to determine how you want to utilize these two-way spots. And just as a reminder, although I'm sure all the sickos who are watching this on a Friday night following Game 5 of a Summer League action in which none of the 5 most important players in the Bulls actually played, two-way players are allowed, I believe, 50 games with the big squad, can transition between the G League team and with the NBA team. And basically, like, they're not a part of the salary cap, so you can turn over those roster spots more frequently without any penalty. It doesn't have a cap hit. There's no real like punishment for it in terms of like luxury tax or anything like that. And typically the way teams think about them is that they're developmental pieces. They're guys that you want to play in the G League. Maybe it's because they're not ready to play in the NBA yet and you want to get them some reps. And so you put them on a two-way contract. They can go up and down. They can play with that G League team, but then also come up and, you know, if you're in a situation like the Mavericks last year where you make a couple of trades and then a handful of guys get hurt and all of a sudden you have no roster spots, but you're at the, you know, luxury tax, or you're at the first apron, and that is a hard cap for you because you've triggered it. Like, you can only churn in guys through two ways. But when those two-way spots, like when you use all 50 games, then you have to find new ones. And so I think like the way teams have to think about it is just like, do we want these guys for, you know, depth spots in the NBA, guys that can come in the case of an injury, or do we want these guys to be like developmental projects that we primarily have in the G League, and maybe they can help out? Or is it guys that you utilize in the G League to try to develop some of the other players that you have, whether it's two-way contracts or NBA contracts that will be spending time with both with both teams? We saw it last year with Modis. We've seen it in years past with Dalen Terry and Julian Phillips. So for me, like Yuki, one, like they have 3 two-way spots filled. Jameer Young, Emmanuel Miller, who we barely saw any of, I think only one game. And obviously Lachlan, who I think is pretty locked in at that point, given that they just drafted him. For me, it's kind of between Jameer Young and Emmanuel Miller in terms of one of those guys needs to get cut or waived in order for Yuki to get that job. And that's a tough decision to make. Like, we didn't see enough of those guys to really feel like they were going to be impactful on a long-term level in the way that I think a lot of people feel about Yuki. But this is Summer League. It's not necessarily entirely translatable. And they have a much longer track record of success in the G League just throughout their careers. So it's a hard decision to make based on these 5 games. But for me, like, Yuki is the kind of player that emulates a lot of what you want to do at the NBA level in terms of running the floor, playing with tempo, getting the ball up the court, and helping young players get easy baskets. And for me, like, that would be a big piece of it, is like Noa Essengue is going to spend a lot of time with Windy City. You got to have a good point guard there who can help set him up and allow him to not just like be overburdened and not, you know, overwhelm him with usage in a role that's not going to really look like what it looks like at the NBA level. So you put a point guard down there, you get him easy shots, you get him some confidence, you get him more experience playing in the style that you're trying to play. And then when you do elevate him to the pro team, now he knows what his role is. He's been in that situation before, and now he can start to take steps forward with his own development. So to me, like, in addition to the fact that, yeah, he would probably sell some jerseys and tickets, yeah, he's been a really good player and maybe even could be productive at the NBA level. I think a huge key with this is that he is good enough at what he does to be able to help the other young players in this team develop. And I also think that, like, he's put on enough of a show here through these 5 games that he's probably going to get a two-way from someone. And so if you want to keep him, you kind of do have to offer him one of those positions, if not like an NBA spot, which I think would be a separate conversation, just because like he'll have offers out there.
Yeah, but I think that's the biggest point that you made, is he will help the younger guys that you are trying to, you know, have be the guys on this team. So when you were talking, I immediately am thinking of like Amari Stoudemire and Steve Nash. And I'm thinking of like Kenya Martin and Jake's Kidd. And I'm thinking of guys, you know, who had that talent, but just didn't really know the game, you know what I'm saying, like that. But what they can do is be athletic, and what they can do is run the floor. And what they can do, you know, is be physical. And you got a guard out there who is just putting you in the positions of where to be. It makes your game, you know, easier and simple. So you can kind of move smoother on that athleticism and that skill that you just naturally have while learning the game at the same time. And yes, Yuki can definitely do that for a guy like Noa Essengue who needs that. And you talked about that on the last time we did a remote show, that they need to have a guy like that on the team to help, Essengue learn so he can ascend, so he can grow. So yes, that's the biggest point basketball wise, is he will definitely help that young man be a better basketball player and see things on the floor that he's probably not seeing.
Obviously a lot of people have been bringing up Muggsy Bogues over the last week as they fall in love with Yuki. Saw somebody in the chat talking about it earlier. Not to say that, Alonzo Mourning needed help in that regard. Like, I think Alonzo Mourning came to the NBA pretty polished as far as young players of that generation.
Fine.
But Dave, you know what I was thinking of? An even younger Larry Johnson, who did not have much of, a face-up game, an ISO game offensively when he came to the NBA, but he had insane athleticism. Muggsy was setting up Larry Johnson left and right for that short time that they spent together. So yeah, obviously a good thing that could be beneficial, even if it is at the G League level. Kuya Cruz raps in the chat saying Yuki as a fourth point guard in case Giddey, Trey Jones, Ayo, or Kobe get hurt isn't that bad, and mainly use him in the G League for developing your projects. Colin Calling saying Yuki's ceiling is taking Trey Jones' roster spot. That ceiling is like cathedral high, so far away. Much love, Yuki. Shout out also to our guy Flipside23, aka JR from GR, who throws a super chat $4.99 saying Yuki get with this or Yuki get with this or Yuki get with that. Yuki get with this. I picked it up Flipside. Bullshit get with this because this Yuki kind of fat. Shout out to Black Sheep and the CHGO crew. Oh, love you, Flipside, as always.
Oh, peace. Yes, sir.
That's
well
right.
done.
So like, again, we'll see what happens. It is not just Bulls fans and AK and Eversley watching these summer league games. There are executives representing 29 other NBA teams watching these games. And Dave, as you mentioned a moment ago, if the Bulls don't decide to say goodbye to whoever it might be, Emmanuel Miller, Jameer Young, and give Yuki one of those two-way spots, I think the body of work that he has put forth in a Bulls jersey over these 5 games, some team is going to pick him up. Like the Grizzlies picked him up last year because they saw something in him. And I think it's just a matter of whether it's the Bulls or some other team who keeps him around. If we're talking about Noah playing a lot of his early career games, for Windy City, which I think is going to happen, I would not hate having a point guard that smart and that crafty playing alongside Noah for the Windy City Bulls for all of the minutes and all of the games. Like, honestly.
No,
yeah, and like these two guys just are not going to play a lot with the Bulls. Like, I think you need to be thinking about this in terms of like, benefit to the organization on a wider level than just, is he going to produce box score stats with the big club? Because I agree that's going to be a challenge just with how many guards are on this roster and with the fact that Billy can really not play more than 10 guys in a rotation anyway. Like, I do think he adds value in a lot of other ways, and I think that counts for something.
All right, let's knock out. Counts for a lot.
Go ahead,
counts for a lot. No, that's all I was saying. Counts for a lot. He's right.
Got you. All right, let's knock out a couple more quick guys. We'll come back on the other side, and let's put a bow on what we saw from the Bulls rook Noa Essengue in his short 2.5 game stint wearing a Bulls Summer League jersey, and a final heat index on him and where we think things go for him from here. Hit that like button if you didn't do it during the first ad break. If you're new here because you want to talk Yuki and you found us in our headline for our show tonight, make sure you hit that subscribe button to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. We do Bull shows 5 days a week, even through the whole offseason for you Bull sickos out there. Today's show brought to you by Mando. It is hot. It is summertime. We barely survived the heat in Vegas. But what you need in those hot summer months is deodorant you can rely on, and that is Mando. What separates Mando from other deodorants? The fact that it is a whole body deodorant, meaning it's safe to use anywhere on your body, of course your pits, but also your thigh folds, your belly button, your butt crack, even your feet. And I'm a Berks wearer. My feet get sweaty in the summertime. Mando was created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated, so created Mando, which is clinically proven to control body odor better than a shower and soap alone. Ugly fact, gentlemen, but a true fact nonetheless. 12 hours after a shower, the average man's grundle odor level is a 5 out of 10. Not great. But with Mando, the average grundle odor level, 0 out of 10. That is what we're looking for, especially on these hot summer days. So take advantage. Get yourself 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code CHGO when you check out at shopmando.com. Check out their starter pack, perfect for their new customers. Plus, did I mention free shipping? That's right. Put in promo code CHGO at shopmando, shopmando.com, and get 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. Please support CHGO Bulls. Tell them that we sent you there. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando.
And big shout out to my man Ray from Ray CDJR. Ladies and gentlemen, new vehicles are in store at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, and this is your chance to score great deals at the Employee Pricing Plus sales event. Right now, lease a new 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab for only $399 a month for 27 months. Plus, shop over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. The expert team at Ray CDJR is here to help you during each step of your car shopping journey. They prioritize affordability, so you know you won't overpay for what you need for a new vehicle. And with Ray's Price Promise, you can shop confidently with no add-ons and no hidden fees whenever. Don't go happen. Price you see, price you're going to pay. It's just that simple. Get on it today and shop one of Chicago area's largest inventories. Don't miss out on the Employee Pricing Sales event for huge savings on a Ram 1500. For more information, visit Ray CDJR today on Route 12 in Fox Lake or online at cdjr.com.
CHGO Bulls roll along Friday night. Bulls finish out their summer league action with a 105-92 win over the Jazz. Yuki is the headline. All right, guys. So I was kind of hoping that we would get one last glimpse of Noa Essengue tonight, but was not expecting it. Honestly, I was even surprised that after leaving Game 2 early in the second half, he came back and played in Game 3, and he played well in Game 3, dropping 21 points. So we figured we did a Summer League Heat Index for Noah after the first two games, but including the third game, going to put a bow on it and give a final Summer League Heat Index grade on all of the different facets of Noah's game that we saw. So let's dive into that now, Katie, if you want to put up that Heat Index graphic. Handles still that ice-cold blue basketball. But, guys, look, after a 7-turnover outing in Game 1, he only turned it over once in each of his second and third games. So at least I can give him some credit for correcting that catastrophically bad first game where, I don't know if it's jitters or trying to do too much. As Goat was saying in one of our earlier shows out in Vegas, the game a little too fast for him, at least in that first one. But, I mean, you got to call a spade sometimes. We know that as far as the offensive tools for Noa Essengue and the project that he is, handles are still long and away, on that to-do list. I don't think anybody was surprised by the lack of handles we saw from Noah, but it is what it is, right, Dave?
Yeah, and he corrected it, Matt, by not dribbling anymore. That's how he
there you go. There you go. You
exactly
keep the ball over when you dribble. Stop dribbling.
Yeah. He cut it. Yes, he cut it out. And I'm saying that as a credit to him, a credit to his IQ to realize, this isn't working out here on the floor. Let me stop doing it. So the only two times I saw him dribble, bring the ball up twice in that last game that he played. And one of those times was because the clock was running out and he just wanted to get the shot off from half court. And the other one was they had no other choice but for him to bring the ball up because they were pressuring the other ball handlers. So for me, I'm like, yes, this is smart. Exactly. He didn't go get it, try to cross anybody over, try to set the offense and do stuff like that, like we saw him trying to do in the first game. So I give him credit for using his IQ to realize his shortcomings and say, hey, this isn't working. Let me work on this. Is something we're going to have to work on during the season, or even from now, I should say, till the start of the regular season, that he'll be working on those kind of things. And for right now, let me focus on the other stuff that can really help my team, because me doing it this way is hurting my team. So let me stop doing it.
Yeah, and I think that was a much better way to put what I was going to try to say, which is that like he just kind of like understood what his role was, I think, in a different way after this first game. Like he was really trying to do too much, and it didn't go well for him. But I think like the awareness to know that, you know, that's not working, understanding like what I can do differently to play inside of my box allowed him to be successful. And like you see, not just like the field goal percentage go from 28 to 40 to 50, but drawing fouls. Like I do think it wasn't that he like completely stopped dribbling. It was that he picked his spots a little bit better. But overall, I think it's tough to give him more than the blue basketball when you have 9 turnovers to 2 assists in the entirety of your summer league. So he definitely has a ways to go, but he also like showed that he has a little bit of shake, that he does have some like potential for creation. The one play that stands out to me was, I believe, his first basket in game 3. And that was one where Modest was dribbling the ball up the court on the left side, left slot. And Noah was just at the top of the key. Modest swung it back to him, and he just attacked the closeout right away, and then took a bump and did like a little sidestep for an elbow jump shot. And like I mean, he attacked the closeout, but he kind of created that opportunity for himself off the dribble in some ways as well. And I think if he's able to get to a point where he can do that consistently, now you're looking at a 6'10" athlete who can get up the floor and also has some creation. Like that's what we've been talking about for the last year, really loving about Modest. And so if you have 2 guys like that, that can be really scary. So I think he's further away than Modest was at this point, but I think there is a little bit of something there. He just needs to really harness it.
And when you talk about these, you know, these toolsy young guys with a lot of athleticism on the defensive end, we saw some special things from Noah. Katie, if you want to put that heat index back up, and we can take a look at our final summer league grades for Noah when it comes to the work he did on the glass, his rim protection, and his perimeter defense. Offensive and defensive rebounding, he both ended up with that good old right down the middle orange basketball, so sort of a C grade there. Also gave him an orange basketball C for the rim protection. We did see a couple of killer blocks from Noah. Perimeter defense, honestly, is what I was most impressed about. You know, I loved the fact that in his game 2, 4 of his 10 for the double-double part of his boards came on the offensive glass. You love getting those second possessions for your team to help the offense. But as lanky as he is, I liked how much I started to believe in him being a legitimate footwork, lateral quickness defender who, with his size, could, in coming years, be a legitimate switchable defender to keep up with some of those quicker guards around the perimeter. Like I liked his lateral quickness. I liked his footwork, Dave.
Yeah, I did too. It's something I was, you know, really honing in on him in the summer league, because when I was watching, you know, film on him when he was in Germany, it's something that really stood out to me, which I found just really, truly impressive for a guy his size to have footwork like that. You don't really see it. You see guys using their length and their speed usually to be, you know, really good defenders on guys who are on the perimeter and things like that. It doesn't happen with the footwork. It just was really cool to see a guy that young using his footwork and knowing how to use his footwork to stay with those guys, and using his footwork and his speed to, I guess, like kind of coax guys into thinking they were past him. And so when they would try to get to the basket, they were like, oh, I'm past him. And he's like, nope, still tall. Still kind of here right here. So you're going to have to make a decision when you get to this rim, sir, because I'm either going to block this or deter it, or it's going to be a turnover. So yeah, I'm impressed by his IQ, especially on the defensive end. Watching him get out there and play, man, like it's a really cool to watch from a guy that young.
And for me, it was like, I mean, this was one of the things that I was a little concerned about him in the pre-draft process, was his ability to like move his feet and dig in and stay with guards on the perimeter. But like he showed a couple of different times that he was like able to guard some of the Raptors opposing guards, able to switch on the perimeter, pick up full court. Like his mobility, I think, was pretty impressive to me. He needs to improve his just being more engaged more consistently. I think Modest struggles with this too, but just like leading the ball into help, like both of those guys just kind of either get beat or like, try to recover with their length, but they're not necessarily playing to the help. And I think that's something that they can both improve on. But I mean, these are like minor things, especially as they add strength, they won't be able to be pushed around quite as much. I definitely think that's going to be a strength of his. And so the perimeter defense, on top of the fact that he can block some shots, protect the rim a little bit, slide over and help, I think the awareness, attention to detail, all that stuff can and will be better. But like, that's not really what I'm looking to see from a lot of these guys. Like Colin Murray-Boyles has been awesome defensively in some of the games that he's played. And that's just like, because that guy's IQ and defensive awareness and ability to quarterback on that end is like what makes him special. That's not necessarily what makes Noah special, but I do think that he can get to a point where those are, strengths of his game and not just like neutral or weakness elements of his game.
And speaking of Noah's, and to the point Dave was just making, Kuya Cruz Raps in the chat said, yeah, D Rose was so good at that as a defender, funneling the point guards into Joakim. Noah is like, okay, yeah, you want to get to the center of the paint right now? Cool. Here's my pal Joakim. Have fun with that. So yeah, if you can, as you were saying, go funnel those defenders, if those young defenders, whether it be Modest or Noah, funnel guys into help a little bit better. I think that would be something that can make their athleticism, and that like they can still do the chase down plays, the catch up plays, but learning when and how best to use their teammates to help defend in those situations.
I think also, if I can just
ahead.
add one more piece, this is like way down the road, like bigger picture NBA trajectory, team building stuff. But like the way that the NBA evolves is like, think about like 2015. Everybody was playing with a big and like David West at power forward, or like David Lee, or like, Boozer or Gasol. Like the two bigs were playing together. And then all of a sudden, everybody started to go a little bit smaller. The Warriors went with Draymond Green at the 5, and that really changed everything. That changed how teams threw guys out there. Jokic and Embiid were like not good enough to win because they were going to get picked on defensively. They were going to put in spread pick and roll, and teams were just going to pick them apart. And over the last year, and particularly in these playoffs, what we've seen is a return to not just like bigs playing at the really high level, which have been for the last couple of years, Jokic obviously winning multiple MVPs, Embiid winning an MVP. But now you're starting to see like Steven Adams and Şengün together. You're starting to see like multiple bigs out there at the same time. And just my sort of assessment of that in terms of where the league is going is that like toughness and offensive rebounding and length and strength and versatility in that way is back in, but it's allowed to happen because the skill level of those bigs. And so you look at a Şengün who's basically playing point guard at the 4 next to Steven Adams, who's like one of the best screeners in the game right now, an incredible offensive rebounder, providing, impact in multiple ways in his own way. And I think what's going to happen is teams are going to start to over-index on bigs again. We're going to see more teams going to 2 big lineups. We're going to see more teams going for offensive rebounds and screening and trying to junk things up, playing zone defense in that way. And I think the next evolution off of that will be, okay, we're going to try to play small again, but we need to like get to a point where we're a little bit bigger than we used to be when we played small, and a little bit more skilled in order to be able to withstand the 2 big lineups in terms of their offensive rebounding and like the brute strength and force that they play with. So you need to have like 3s and 4s and 5s who are all 6'10", who can all run the floor, who can all get up and down, who can all defensive rebound, who can all create off the dribble to pull those bigs away from the basket, and to continue to make life difficult on them by having to guard in multiple scenarios. And I think when you have 2 guys like Modest and Noah, that's the foundation for that. They still need to figure out a 5, but just having 2 forwards like that is just kind of a roundabout way of saying like I kind of see the vision of what they could be in like a post-current NBA. in a couple of years. And I think they could be really successful in that.
Goodbye, Vooch. Bulls' new starting five, Yuki Kawamura. It's happening. Speaking of things that are happening, our last quick ad break. Then we'll come back to wrap things up, put a bow on Summer League, talk a little bit about, after another Summer League, how Bulls fans should feel about the farm system of young guys that they have on their roster compared to the rest of the league and some of the other names we saw at Summer League this past week. Hit the like button if you didn't do it in the first two ad breaks, or Katie will come get you and get that like. Today's show brought to you by Four Seasons. Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric has been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. Summer is here. Is your home's AC up to the challenge? I certainly hope so. But if not, Four Seasons is who you need to call. Their expert technicians ensure you always receive reliable service, and Four Seasons doesn't charge more for service during nights, weekends, or even holidays. Schedule your Four Seasons AC tune-up today. Save $50 and enjoy a 1-year no-breakdown guarantee, just like Charles. Save up to $4,000 on new comfort systems with Four Seasons. New AC units from $39 a month, and AC furnace combos from $57 a month. Four Seasons is your trusted local experts for heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electric. All of those boxes checked. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. Because Dave, for all the right reasons.
Call 866 Four Seasons. Lean in on you. So go put the hand up high.
Tears. Beautiful.
Making money moves. Making money moves, ladies and gentlemen. Should be just like all the Bulls fan sickos who are watching the game tonight. Should be simple, should be solid, and should be very, very smooth. Just like Cash App. There are no extra hoops to jump through on Cash App. There's no extra stress. There are no woozies. And for the love of the remote quaff, there are no wazies at all, ladies and gentlemen. And for a limited time, new Cash App users, you can use this exclusive code to earn you some cash. For real, no catch. Download Cash App and sign right up. Use this exclusive referral code, CHGO Bulls, in your profile. Send $5 to a friend within 14 days, and you'll get $10 dropped right into your account. I said $10 dropped right into your account. Kerplunk. Terms apply. That is money, ladies and gentlemen. That is Cash App.
All right, y'all, Bulls Nation, as we round out tonight, round out the week, Summer League in the books, Vegas. Wow, what a time that was. As we now move into the true dead zone of the NBA offseason, which honestly for the Bulls is not quite all the way dead because the Giddey deal is not yet done. But as we move into end of July, August, September, the really quiet months of the NBA calendar year, I think post-Summer League is a good time to take stock of where the team is, especially a team given where the Bulls have ended up the past few years and knowing how important the young talent on this team is and how the fan base feels about it. I'm curious what you guys think. Obviously, about Modest. We got another look in the Summer League games, but honestly, I didn't need the Summer League games to still be very high on Modest Buzelis as a Bulls fan. All my hopes hanging on that Modest rack right there. Noah, I feel okay, not great. I feel like after watching him in those games, he is more of a project than I optimistically initially hoped. And then just, any other young pieces, Goat. I know you ran across something on Twitter earlier today. Somebody was ranking like all of the farm system prospects across 30 NBA teams, ranking them. And I didn't see a single Bulls name, not even Modest's, in the top, 20 or 25? And there were a lot of names that got their first taste of the NBA as 2025 draft class, inductees who were in those top 20 or 25 rankings. So, how good or worried or bad should Bulls fans feel after the Summer League exercise, Goat?
So I think there's a couple of different layers to this. Number one is I mean, Katie, if you have that graphic and you just can throw it up. I mean, I just think that was like underestimating Modest a little bit. Like, I think he's just better.
Too.
I think he just belongs in that top 25 or so.
I'm sorry,
I mean, you look
Trey
at some of these
Johnson
names
is ranked
here.
ahead of him. I love Trey Johnson, but
like Jalen Wells, very good 3-and-D player. But like, I don't know. I just think like if you are somebody who has like star equity, then you should be ranked higher than someone who is a good role player. It may not work out and you may not end up being a better player. But to me, it's like Anthony Black kind of falls into that same category. Risa Shea, like if you did a redraft of the 2024 draft, like would Modest go top 5? Would he go number 1? I mean, I think like that's a real question just based on the flashes that he's shown. And again, he has not been as consistently productive as Jalen Wells or Kalel Ware or Risa Shea or some of the other guys in his draft. But like, I think he's shown that he has a higher ceiling than a lot of them. And so I would put him up higher just based on that. And then number 2, I mean, this is the criticism of the Bulls. Like, they are not valuing draft picks. They are not valuing getting high draft picks. You look at some of these players that were drafted: Cooper, Victor, top number 1 picks. Amen Thompson was a top 5 pick. Brandon Miller was a top 5 pick. Dylan Harper, top 5 pick. And then you have some like super high end role players in here. Case and Wallace, who I believe was 12th pick to OKC, maybe 10th. Bilal Coulibaly, who I like a lot. I think that's probably overrating them a little bit. Even Asar Thompson, just given his offensive limitations, is a little high. Chimani Kamara, incredible defensive player, not really somebody who I would put in that same category based on his age and his offensive upside. So basically I can say like there's an argument to be made that Modest should be much higher on this list. But then also like the Bulls just need to, if they want to be one of these teams that has, I think they were 18th overall in terms of their prospects. Like they need to accumulate more picks and get more high-end draft picks and add more talent through the draft if they want to be a team that like competes that way. Now I'll say this for them: they've kind of tried to circumvent that and accumulate some of those younger players with experience to reset around players that have not been drafted in the last 3 years, but still are 25 years old or younger. You can start with Josh Giddey, but also Kobe and Ayo are on that list. And those are good players that kind of don't necessarily fit into the farm system element of it, but are a piece of the young core and the rebuild that the Bulls are undergoing right now. But yeah, I mean, this is the criticism. It's like they're just not prioritizing or accumulating draft picks to where they can add to that, and other teams are, and other teams have a more robust farm system as a result of that. Does that mean that all these guys are going to work out, or that they're going to, those teams in order are going to like be the best teams in the league over the next 10 years? No, absolutely not. But that is sort of the process that most teams take when they reset things, and the Bulls haven't done it. They've done it their own way.
I think that Bulls fans should feel, solid. Like, I don't think they should be super high. I don't think they should be super low coming out of this summer league. I think walking in, I didn't have super high expectations. I knew I wanted to see Modest, and the only thing I wanted him to do was drop 31 and 15, and he had 28. So I was like, fine, I'm good. I know he can do that. He got to the line a lot. Great. The second thing I wanted to see, I was like, let me get a look at Essengue and see what he is on the floor. It took him a game to get, kind of acclimated, and he's still honestly getting acclimated to the NBA game, but it wasn't to the point where I felt like it would be a detriment to the team with him being out there. I saw a lot of him that I liked on the floor, and something that I think Bulls could use going forward. Definitely stuff to work on, without a doubt. Nobody's denying that at all. But he's a little more further along than I was thinking in my head that he was, because I really wasn't super high on him in the draft. But people much smarter than me, like Ricky O'Donnell, definitely were. So it made me pay attention, to him. And yeah, I think they have something there with him and with Modest together as far as their future is concerned. Now, what they put around him, we'll see, because like Will said, they do not value those kind of draft picks. So if like this process could go slower than it should because of that reason. Not having, extra talent draft picks to bolster your or fill your cupboards with could, kind of deter, your process and just make it a 5-year thing instead of a 3-year thing. So that's what that can do when you don't have, extra help and extra draft picks, to spend and to use like that. So that could hinder it. But overall, I mean, especially you can't talk about it without Yuki and what he did in the summer league. So that obviously brings, a lot of fun and give Bulls fans hope, which is dangerous for Bulls fans to give them hope. But it gives them that kind of thing right there and some kind of joy, which is something Bulls fans desperately need, is something happy and good and pure to cheer for, not just something one-sided, but something everybody can look at and agree, hey, this is something that is really solid for us. So I think they should come out just in the middle, Matt. Like, I don't think they should be super high. I don't think they should be super low. I think I saw enough to say, okay, this is cool. What's next?
Rob in the chat saying tall, quick rim protectors who can shoot and pass. If you make a whole team full of them, it's great. It's fun. It's nice. Everyone on this Bulls roster still has a lot of work to do. I think that's kind of how I feel when you're talking about farm systems and the young guys. AK is posting young guys with NBA experience, and he's talking about Giddey, Isaac Okoro, Kobe, whatever. But then there's the younger young guys. Modest, young rookie last year, still very young. Noah, second youngest rookie in this class behind Cooper Flagg, who reclassified to 25. Like, even like throw Dalen Terry and Julian Phillips' names in there. One of them being a first-round pick, one of them being a second-round pick. Like, what are these guys? What are they going to turn into? Are they going to turn into something we haven't seen yet from them? And all of them need to take significant steps, or most of them need to take significant steps for the Bulls to go from being a 9th or 10th seed to maybe scraping their way to a 6th seed. Like, that's what I'm seeing right now. And to me, it's still all modest. Like, we'll see what the project that is Noa Essengue looks like a year from now, 2 years from now. But Modest proved in a variety of ways down the stretch last season as a rookie, as his role increased, that he can do a variety of things positively on an NBA court on both ends of the floor. And that is where most of the hope is, because you could talk about all these prospects and what they could turn into and the farm system that you have. But as Goat said, as long as you continue to not prioritize draft picks and like real good draft picks, high draft picks, you're still just crossing your fingers and hoping that one of these guys hits. And right now, I think it's no question that the biggest hope is Modest. Like far and away the biggest hope, because you still need the franchise player to lead all of the other guys who hopefully also get better as they are young, but can continue to develop their games. Who's the guy? That's always the question to me. Who's the guy? Is he here right now? Because if his name isn't Modest Buzelis, then he ain't here right now.
Boom. Boom. Right there. That part. I've said that a million times on this show when I was recording. Like, if it has to be Modest. It got to work because it has to be Modest, bro. Like, it can't be nobody else. It has to be Modest to be the one to carry this team, bro. Like, it just, that's how it's got to be if this grand plan is going to work.
Yeah, I think like we're probably underselling Giddey a little bit just because of his ability to help these guys turn into the players that they will eventually become. Like, Giddey has flaws, but he's also really good at facilitating, and he's really good at setting guys up, and he's really good at playing in the style that I think can be conducive to success and development for Modest and Noah. And I also think like the Bulls have just kind of signed that part of team building. They're just not doing it. Like, they're going to have to do it a different way. I just don't think it's going to be hope to get lucky in the draft, in the top 5 every year. It's going to be like, can we get another good piece in the 10 to 15 range, and then hope that our guys take a step forward, and then like somehow one of our guys either takes another step forward and becomes a star, or we're able to use cap space, or we'll put together a trade at some point. But like the hoping and praying for lottery luck is just not going to be a piece of it. And I just think that's kind of important for people to accept. If they haven't done it by now, it's just not going to happen.
Well, hey, there's always a bright side. As AK reminded everyone when he did that in-game sideline broadcast interview, Bulls finished 15-5 last year, guys. There's always that. 14-9. Shout out Pat Bev. Go check out that Modest Buzelis exclusive one-on-one interview the GOAT did out in Vegas. Katie just threw it, the link to it in the chat if you haven't done it yet. Also, speaking of fun things we did in Vegas, go watch the Derrick Rose exclusive interview that GOAT did while we were out in Vegas. Also available under that CHGO Bulls playlist of the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribed. Get alerts every time we go live, 5 days a week, even through these dog day months of the NBA offseason that are staring us all in the face now that Summer League is over. Well, at least for the Bulls, because they didn't make the playoffs. And somewhere, Denzel Valentine weeps a single tear. We are off until Monday. Hope everybody out there at Bulls Nation enjoys the weekend ahead. In the meantime, read GOAT stuff, allchgo.com. Become a diehard so you can read all of it. Follow him, Will_Gottlieb. Big Dave is at BAL, BAWL Sports. I am Bulls_Peck. We are CHGO_Bulls. Shout out to the tireless and always working hard queen of the controls, Katie Duffy, behind the scenes. Hit the like button for her and for yourselves, Bulls Nation, on your way out if you haven't done it yet. Much love and appreciation as always. We will talk to you Monday. See Red be good. Yuki!
Sloppy like Joe.
Yuki!
We all silly like the mayor.